They stopped calling me Clara after the wedding. To Marlene, I became her, or worse, that girl. Her daughters didn't bother hiding it. Celeste once asked if I was the maid. Lauren laughed. Dad? He adjusted his tie, pretended he didn't hear. That silence stung more than any insult. I was 14 when they moved in. Marlene hung floral curtains over windows my mom once cleaned. She painted over everything that felt like home. My bedroom turned into a walk-in closet for Lauren. I was handed the attic, no insulation, just a thin mattress and a leaky window. They called it cozy. I didn't argue. At dinner, they'd talk about designer sales and tropical vacations. I'd quietly chew stale leftovers. No one asked how my day was, but I stayed polite. I smiled even when Marlene made me skip my school trip because we can't afford it. Right before she bought matching Louis Vuitton bags for her girls. I tried. God knows I tried. I brought home trophies, perfect grades, summer job paychecks. They gave me polite nods, followed by quick glances at their phones. Still, I stayed. Not out of hope, but habit. Like a ghost that forgot how to leave. Years passed, like this. I learned to walk without making noise, to cry without sound, to dream without telling a soul. And somehow, that silence became my shield. But what they never realized, what even I didn't fully understand, was that behind every ignored word and swallowed tear, something inside me was quietly building, and one day it would rise. Every birthday in that house felt like a reminder. I didn't belong. Celeste's Sweet 16 had a ballroom, champagne flutes, even a hired violinist. I turned 18 with a cupcake from the gas station and a, "Sorry, we forgot." Marlene claimed she meant well, always with that tight smile, the kind that made your skin itch. Lauren? She called me the background character once, at dinner. They all laughed, even Dad. I wanted to disappear, but I didn't. I showed up, dressed neat, hair brushed, shoes clean. I brought gifts they'd never open, compliments they'd ignore. It wasn't love. It was survival. I earned scholarships, picked up double shifts, studied until sunrise. No one noticed. No one asked where I was, why I looked tired, why my hands shook. They didn't see the broken skin on my palms from scrubbing tables at the diner, or the tear-streaked textbooks I clutched on freezing bus rides. To them, I was always less. But I kept walking through their front door with forced smiles and folded hands, not because I needed them, but because I refused to let them erase me. They wanted me silent, so I listened more. They tried to dim me, so I watched everything. Marlene's fake pearls, Lauren's lies, Dad's discomfort. I stored it all, and somewhere in that fog of hurt, I found clarity. I didn't want revenge. I wanted freedom, and I was willing to build it myself, even if it meant walking alone. Especially if it meant walking alone. They called me aimless. Celeste was studying fashion in Milan. Lauren interned at a luxury firm in Manhattan. Me? I enrolled at a local community college and waited tables. They smirked when I mentioned computer science. Marlene once scoffed. "That's cute, but tech's for geniuses, honey." I said nothing. What was the point? They had already decided who I was, but at night, I transformed. In the quiet of my attic, I coded, alone with my second-hand laptop and Wi-Fi stolen from the neighbors. Weak signal. Every line of code felt like a breath of air after years underwater. I learned to build things that listened when no one else did. I created small apps, joined online forums, soaked in tutorials like gospel. No one knew. Not because I was hiding, but because they never asked. While they bragged on Instagram, I launched CJ Notes, an app for students juggling jobs, school, and chaos. I didn't expect much. But then downloads spiked. Then came feedback, investors, interviews. Still, I told no one at home. When I passed Marlene in the hallway, she muttered something about me wasting my youth. Lauren joked I'd be lucky to land a desk job someday. I just smiled. They didn't need to know I already had 5 employees on payroll. They didn't deserve that part of me. I wasn't bitter. I was focused. Every insult became fuel. Every dismissal, a spark. And while they planned another wine-tasting trip, I built something real, brick by digital brick. I was no longer reaching for their approval. I was building something far bigger than their narrow world could ever hold. The message came in late. Not a call, not even a real invite. Just a forwarded group text from Celeste. Marlene's birthday dinner. 7 p.m., Cielos, dress nice. No greeting, no warmth, no hi, Clara. It wasn't about me wanting to go. It was about showing up, again, like always. Like expected. I stared at the screen for a while. Could have ignored it. Could have deleted it. But I didn't. Instead, I took a deep breath, closed my laptop, and stood up. CJ Tech had hit a major milestone that morning. Our first licensing. Deal. 6 figures. But I didn't post it. Didn't tell a soul. Let them keep their assumptions. Let them laugh. I had my own reasons for attending. I chose a dress my mother once wore. Simple. Black. Timeless. The one she wore to her final teaching award ceremony. No makeup. Hair in a clean braid. No sparkle. No statement. I didn't need it. The night air was heavy when I arrived. Inside, everything glittered. Chandeliers, laughter, expensive perfume. They were already on their 2nd bottle of wine. Stepped in, unnoticed. Just another shadow at their golden table. Then Lauren saw me. "Oh, you came." Marlene gave a tight smile. Dad nodded without meeting my eyes. No seat pulled out. "No, we saved you a spot." I found my place, at the edge, like always. But I wasn't there to fit in. I was there to remember. Every word, every glance, every moment. Because sometimes the best part of being ignored is watching people show you exactly who they are before they even realize you're listening. They didn't skip a beat. Back to their stories, their inside jokes, their clinking glasses. Lauren bragged about her promotion, something involving influencers and cocktail parties. Celeste had flown in from Paris, complained about jet lag between sips of rosé. Marlene gushed over her birthday spa retreat, her collagen treatments, her fabulous new ring. I sat still, nodded, smiled when expected. My plate stayed mostly untouched. No one noticed. They passed dishes around me like I wasn't there. Then Lauren leaned in, flashing her teeth like she practiced the pose. She turned to her friend beside her. "We should all be grateful we don't have to work minimum wage jobs, just to survive." A pause. Eyes drifted to me. "Oh, wait," she added with mock surprise. "Sorry, Clara." A burst of laughter. Celeste snorted. Marlene smirked. Even Dad gave a soft chuckle, shaking his head like it was harmless fun. The sound cracked something inside me. Not anger, not sadness. Something sharper, quieter. I folded my napkin slowly, excused myself with the calmness of someone who had already decided what came next. But I didn't go to the bathroom. I found the waiter, pulled out my card, looked him straight in the eye. "How much is the bill so far?" He blinked. "About $2,300, ma'am." I handed him the card. "Add dessert. Tip. Well, bring the receipt when they're finishing the cake." He nodded, stunned. I didn't explain. Didn't need to. Sometimes silence cuts deeper than any comeback. And that night, I chose silence with purpose. Because I knew the loudest moment of The evening hadn't happened yet, but it was coming. I returned to the table like nothing happened. Took my seat at the edge, folded my hands, and smiled politely. They didn't notice I'd been gone long. The waiter poured another round. Laughter climbed higher. Marlene unwrapped diamond earrings from Dad. Lauren clapped. Celeste recorded a story for her followers. Everything was perfectly staged. Everything was curated for the world to envy. I watched, listened, stored every word like glass inside my chest. They had always mistaken my silence for weakness. They never once considered it might be a choice. Lauren leaned across the table again. "Clara, do you even have Instagram?" I shrugged. "I've been busy." Another laugh. Marlene chimed in. "Busy doing what, sweetie?" Her voice dripped with sweet venom, like syrup over poison. Dad looked down, avoided me again, just like every time before. I let the moment hang, didn't defend myself, didn't rise to their bait. The birthday cake arrived. 3 tiers, gold-trimmed, perfect for photos. They gasped, phones out, flashes, sparked. Then the waiter came back. He cleared his throat gently, then set down the leather folder. "Thank you, Ms. James," he said with calm professionalism. "As usual, everything's been taken care of." Silence dropped like a bomb. Forks paused midair, eyes snapped toward me. Even the candle flames seemed to still. Lauren blinked. "What?" He nodded at me respectfully. "Your card went through, full amount, plus tip." She coughed on her champagne. Celeste stared like she'd seen a ghost. Marlene's lips parted, searching for control. But I sat, composed. No gloating, no performance. I just waited. Because the best part was still to come. Nobody spoke at first. Not a whisper, just stunned faces caught between confusion and discomfort. I took a small bite of cake. Chocolate, dense, expensive, barely sweet compared to the taste of quiet power. Lauren was the first to break. "Wait, what do you mean, as usual?" Her voice sharpened, brittle like glass under pressure. The waiter hesitated, then replied, without blinking. "Ms. James covers the bill every time she joins us here. It's been noted on your family's account." Marlene turned pale. Celeste set down her fork like it had burned her. Even Dad finally looked at me. Really looked. Like he didn't recognize the woman sitting at his table. I stood slowly, straightened my dress, smoothed my braid. "I may not wear designer," I said quietly, "but I've never let anyone else pay my way." The silence deepened. No one reached for their wine now. No one laughed. "My company, CJ Tech, pays well," I continued. "I built it while you rolled your eyes." A pause. Then I added, "Funny how the girl you thought was begging for scraps actually paid for your filet mignon." No anger, no fire, just fact. I looked at Dad last, and this time he didn't look away. His expression cracked. Regret, maybe. But too late. Far too late. I turned to the waiter. "Thank you for your service. Your team's always kind to me." He smiled. They didn't, and with that, I walked. Out, not storming, not rushing, just free. Let them sit there with their untouched cake and perfect outfits. Let them taste the truth, cold and unfamiliar. Outside, the air smelled like jasmine and salt. A soft breeze tugged at my dress as I stepped onto the sidewalk. The city buzzed, but inside me, stillness. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. There was no rush of triumph, just release. For years I'd been showing up, hoping they'd see me. Tonight I let them see themselves instead. The shadows of that restaurant stayed behind me. Their silence, their guilt, their glares, none of it followed. I didn't need their approval. Never did. I just hadn't realized it until now. I walked to my car, the one they mocked me for driving. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine. Paid, often full. Like everything I owned, like every part of my life, my phone buzzed. A message from my assistant. Investor meeting confirmed. They're offering full partnership. I smiled, not because of the money, but because I'd built something that couldn't be taken, mocked, or ignored. Not like I'd been. I scrolled. Past Lauren's story post. Best night ever, Sark family time. Funny. No mention of me. No caption about who paid. Just filters and lies. Let them have their performance. Let them keep pretending. I wouldn't correct them, wouldn't chase the truth into rooms that never made space for it. I didn't need to be in their picture. I was building a different legacy, one that didn't require their table, their approval, or their last name. And as I pulled away from the curb, I didn't look back. Because this time, I knew exactly where I was going. That night, I drove to the one place that always felt like home, the cemetery, where my mother rested beneath a tree that bloomed only in spring. I parked, climbed the small hill, and sat beside her stone. No tears, just truth. "Hey, Mom," I whispered. I finally stopped asking them to see me. The wind shifted gently, brushing my cheek like a reply. She would have hated how they treated me, how Dad faded into someone else's idea of family, how I kept shrinking just to stay invited. I traced her name with my fingers. Dr. Evelyn James, professor. Single mother. Unbreakable. She didn't leave much behind. Just her old laptop, a few journals, and a worn-out briefcase with a sticky note that read, "Keep building, baby." So I did. Brick by brick. Bug by bug. Night after night. And even when Dad remarried and Marlene made it clear I was just an inconvenience, I kept going. Not for them, for her. Because my mother never taught me to chase love that cost your dignity. She taught me to build things that last. CJ Tech wasn't just my company. It was proof that I was never lost, just underestimated. They saw the quiet girl in hand-me-downs. They didn't see the woman who turned her pain into code, into strategy, into legacy. I placed a small bouquet at her stone. Lilies, her favorite. Then I stood, feeling taller than I ever had. "I'm done asking to be let in," I whispered. "I'm building doors of my own now." And with that, I walked back to my car, not alone, but with every part of me reclaimed. A week passed. No calls, no apologies, just silence. Not that I expected more. Marlene never apologized. Lauren never meant her digs as mean. And Dad, he never stood up. But something inside me had shifted. Not snapped. Unfolded. I didn't block them. Didn't rage online. Didn't make a scene. Instead, I moved forward, quietly, like always, but no longer small. I hired 2 more developers, signed a distribution deal with a school district in Oregon. CJ Tech passed 1 million users. Still, I didn't post about it, didn't throw a party. Success wasn't revenge, it was freedom. One afternoon, an email came in. Subject line, speaking invitation, Women in Innovation Conference. They wanted me. Not Clara, the background girl at someone else's dinner, but Clara James, the founder, the builder, the woman who stayed kind even when they called her less. I accepted. That night, I stood on stage in front of hundreds. No braid, no borrowed. Smile, just me. I spoke about silence, about resilience, about the power of creating your own table when none welcome you to theirs. After the applause, a teenage girl came up. She said, "My stepmom treats me like I don't belong, but you make me think I can still be more." I hugged her tight, because I remembered being invisible, being dismissed, and still choosing to rise. That's the legacy I wanted. Not revenge, not applause, but the quiet knowing that the girl they once mocked built something that couldn't be unmade, and became someone they could never again ignore.